Morning everybody, Glenn with Red Dog Motorsports. We are back out in the shop once again. I'd like to thank all of the past viewers for tuning back in and watching one more of the videos. And if you're a new subscriber, new watcher, I appreciate you tuning in. We're going to be working on the rat rod. Like I said in the last video, I really need to get focused on it. So, we mounted the motor, transmission, got all that hard mounted. I showed you the front wheels, and now we're working on the rears. These are a 17-inch wheel off of a Dodge 2500. As you can see, they're chrome. I don't like the chrome. I bought 4 of them. I got them for cheap. I got all 4 for 75 bucks. I have a set of 5 37-inch pit bull tires, which I'll show you here in a little bit, that we're going to be mounting to these. So right now I'm going to do 2 of them in the chrome, and I want to be able to paint these. So in order to do that, I need to take the chrome off. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. It's actually pretty straightforward. I already did one. Alright, so what I did is right here in the center, it's easy enough to get up underneath these. When these are mounted up, there's a center cap on here. But I just took a flat chisel and to get them started, pried up. Then I take a pry bar, one of the smaller ones, and I drive it underneath there. And I get it to pop. Then I can take another bar and just start to work my way around. Just prying it up. Just takes a second. Had to go underneath here a couple of places. They're basically just glued on with some silicone, looks like. Some kind of silicone or glue. But once I get a little space underneath it, there we go. Now we got some. Once I got that, then I take a wrecking hook, see? Slide it underneath here. And now it starts to give us a good amount of room. You can use a pry bar to hold it. Get it underneath the other side. The hard part's getting the outer rim to pop off. And then you just take the long pry bar or something. You've got to get that outer rim to pop. Flip her upside down. Once you can get that outer ring, the first one always goes so easy until I go to show you guys. Let me grab my tool. It dropped off. Where'd it go? Just at any rate. So we'll pop this off. was a little tougher than it was on the last one. But we're getting it. See about using a pair of pliers here. There we go. Just got to create yourself a little bit of space in there. Get a pry bar underneath it. And there you go. Voila. One chrome ring or cover. And now what I can do is at my leisure, I'll clean all this up and then we'll paint it maybe like a black and a green or something. I don't know. But at any rate, these are going to be the wheels. I think these will be the final wheels we use. But for now, I'm going to build with the other set. So let's get to it. So these are the tires I'm using. These are a 37 Pitbull rocker. And they have seen a rough life. They have been chunked out pretty bad because they were on a rock crawler. I got them for the grand price of $0. Set of 5. Buddy of mine had them. I wanted 2. He made me take 5. But they got the American flag on them, and they're going to work out great. One of the things I want to do, because they are so chunked out, I want a way to get them to at least balance a little bit. So I've done this before. Let me see, these are, yeah, we should be okay with this. All right. So I'm going to add some weights inside them so that we can, let me pry this down first. Got to get in here with a couple of, I should probably just use 2 pry bars, but at any rate. Well, that'll work. There we go. All right. So I do this a lot of times with my bigger tires, 43s and stuff like that. I've done them on some 39s. They'll work fine for the 37s as well. They don't work too well if you get into a smaller size tire. But in lieu of using a balance bead or something like that, I'm going to use a couple of golf balls. These last, I've put them in there, taken them out years later, you know, like 5-6 years later, and it'll wear the letters and stuff off, but the golf balls will be just fine. You can hear them roll around at the stop and whatnot, but they hold up just fine to 70-80 miles an hour down the roadway, and they do a good job balancing out tires that are really out of balance. But all we're doing is trying to get this to get me enough space to then shove it in there. So, at any rate, I will get these put in there. There we go. There's one. I'm going to do 3. That's what I did on the last one. And the golf balls are free as well. I used to collect them up in my last business from the houses near the golf courses whenever I'd find them in the yards. And yeah, So that'll work. So now I need to fill it up with air, and then I'll show you it on the rig. All right, everybody, it's time. It's time to talk math. So get your pencils out, get your paper out. Let's go over what we got. All right, I'm gonna show you real quick where I'm at on the rig itself, and then we'll go over to the whiteboard so we can get a better description, because I know as I'm just waving my finger around, it probably won't make a lot of sense. But got the axle top up here where the frame would hit, 19.5 inches. I need this part of the frame to be sitting on the ground from there to there. And right now, the flat part of the frame ends right here, but if I measure from up there where that magnet's at, I actually need this point to be back here, which is at 60 inches, give or take, 60.5. Somewhere right in here, 61. So I'm gonna have to add some metal in here, and then we're gonna have to come up vertically and then go back. Now I'm looking, I wanna save this bit of frame. This is a flat piece. We can use it underneath the bed, back here on the back. This is where we're gonna need to add probably another cross member so that I can attach the bumper. I'll leave this one in for strength. Either leave it in or maybe we'll move it. That would be a good idea. If I cut it out, I can move it up in front of the axle and use it up there. This one is getting cut out, and I think I'm going to turn it and go sideways with it so that I can mount the gas tank, because it has mounts and the curve already built into it. That's my game plan. Go take you out. I'm gonna pause you again, but we're gonna go out to the body that I got sitting out on the floor. It's not the one I'm gonna use, but it's still a Jeepster body, same year. So we'll go look at it. I'll explain a couple of things there. All right, I'm back. Funny thing is, you don't know how long I was gone. Could have been real quick. Might have been a couple of minutes. You don't know. All right, so let's get back to this. All right, this body, not the one I'm using, but the same thing. This is the point that I've been measuring off of. It's the yellow line with the magnets on it back of the frame. That's where that's supposed to line up. If I measure from that point back to this point right here, that's 60 inches inside. A little bit longer than that, it's like 61 underneath. That's where my turnup's gonna be, and where I said I needed to add some metal. The point is to get this floor, not this one, but a floor, up into this realm right up here, the top of the bed rails, be just underneath it. So, two-seater rig. But yeah, that bed floor is going to be up in here. That's going to make all the room that I need for the rear axle. And then down, all of this will get enclosed, you know, tailgate, that kind of thing. And then down in here is where that other cross member was going to need to be, so that I can attach a bumper and make it look normal, like I want it to look. All right, gonna pause you again. We'll go over to the whiteboard. All right, guys, here we are at the whiteboard. All right, let's see if I can keep all this in frame. All right, this will be the front of the rig up in here. The existing frame rail in blue. I need to add about 12 inches back in frame. Need to add about 12 inches to the frame. I need 6 inches inside crossover, overlap's the word I'm looking for. And then we'll have 4 inch. So I'm gonna buy some 6 inch 2x6, 3/16 wall. I'm also gonna buy some 4 inch 2x4 in 3/16 wall. The vertical will be in the 4 inch. I'm gonna use that piece of frame on the back that we talked about. That's gonna be this section in here over the top of the frame rail, or over the top of the axle. And then we're gonna have a section that comes down, and then a cross member, and probably another cross member here. Although I did talk that maybe we'll take this one that's existing, cut it off and move it to this location. So that'll give me good strength in all of it, because I'll have 1, 2, 3 cross members in it. There's not one here, but if I do one here, I'm going to use some tube. And then I've got to figure out some link mounts. Any place that I think I have link mounts, I think I'm just going to use some 3/4 inch round or I'm sorry, not 3/4, 1 3/4 inch round DOM tubing. I've got plenty of it. I don't have to buy it, so it's not going to be an additional cost. It's easy to attach to. It's easy to make tabs for. So I think that's how we're going to go. Unless I can go off of this one in here somewhere, but we'll figure that out. And then I may end up needing another cross member up here for the radiator and all that. But again, I'll probably just use 1 3/4 inch or something like that and go with it. But all told, if you add it all up, it comes out, I need about 186 inches of tubing, split between 4-inch and the 2x6. I'll probably just end up ordering a 20-foot stick of 2x4 and then get the 2x6 cut to length, or at least cut to the raw length I need, so because I don't need 20 feet of 2x6. So that's what we're getting ready to do. I got to get that ordered. I got to take a look and see how much plate, because each one of these locations here, I'm going to have to verify whether or not I'm going to need to fish plate it. If I can attach it inside and weld the edges as well as the centers, then I won't be too concerned about it. If I can't, if I have to do butt welds, then I have to plate them to get the strength I need. So like this location would need to be plated, this location would not. This location, one of these will probably have to be plated, the other will not. So that's what I'm looking at. So let's get to it. Here's some plasma work. We will get in here. I've marked it out. I'm gonna get it cut. I'm gonna cut the main part of the frame off first, and then I'm gonna bring the back piece out and cut where I want it cut, just because it keeps me from having to stretch all the cords out. But I'm gonna throw you guys on time lapse and we'll get it done. We got it cut apart, for better or worse. I got it laying on the floor right now. I've got the back half hanging out. I'm gonna slide everything back in terms of my cutting equipment and y'all, and then I'll be able to bring the back half forward. We'll cut off the parts that we don't think we're gonna need. I went ahead and cut off the old body mounts. I've got one front bumper mount that needs to come off yet. I'll get to it in a minute. I need to grind a new spot to clamp to. And then I got to get metal ordered. I got to go get the metal, and then we can start rebuilding. I got a little bracket down there that needs to come off. Ronan's going to have a bunch of grinding, it looks like. But, well, maybe if I can get him in here on a weekend. But at one point, he is going to do some grinding on this, get it cleaned up for me. And then we can start putting it back together. I also got to figure out what datum line I'm going to use to set the rear axle, so that I can get it centered and square, all that good stuff. But then we'll get the subframe or the frame built, and then we can start working on getting linkages set up for the axle. Hey everybody, I just want to bring you up to speed on where I've ended up at. When I left you last, I was talking about I was waiting on the metal for working on the rear, and I finally got it. But when I left you, it was Friday. And now it is Wednesday, and so I'm not going to have enough time to get to working on the rear prior to having to complete this video. But in the meantime, I did start working on some other stuff in the front to keep things moving forward. I added a couple of bars right here. My goal is to not have anything really up in front, at least not like a standard grill that you purchase. I'm trying to build something myself. So I got a couple of bars here, one on each side. I'll show you those in more detail. I got these lights for free, and then I have some Chevy headlights that I only paid a little bit for that's coming. So I'm not sure which ones I'm going to use. I may use the free ones just because I did have to buy airbags in the rear. But at the same time, I don't really care if I go over budget that much. I mean, it's great fun to try to meet that, but if it disqualifies me from the competition, but I build the rig I want, I'm okay with that. That being said, these lights, somewhere up in here is kind of what I'm thinking. I want to try to get something in front of these A-arms to cover them up a bit. So, some tabs, these sitting here, they'll have some adjustment. I got two sets. I got some spots and some floods. No high beam, low beam capacity because they're not real headlights. And that is one consideration that I'm keeping in mind, that having a regular headlight might be worth it. So we'll take a look at that. But that's where we're at. Now I'm going to work on adding a little bit of structure in here and a little bit of embellishment. But let me take you off the stand. I'll bring you in, show you the side of these, and what else we got going on. Alright guys, so I got a good start. At this point I'm just winging it. My plans have come and gone and been thrown out the window, and now I'm just filling it in as I feel creative about it. But I've got the basics of what I want here. I'm going to fill these areas in, not from top to bottom, but flat, to keep the three risers. I don't know that I'm going to do anything vertically in it. Maybe. I don't know. We'll just have to play with it. And then I want to fill in this somewhere down here with some sheet metal and some mesh or something to hide the steering box. And it's uneven. It's not even front side to side. The frame's a little bit different just because there's different things going on. So I was going to hide it, and then we'll see where we go. Obviously we've got some lights that are going to go on out here. I'll probably wait for Friday to get those light housings that I've got coming before I make a final decision on that. But we're not going to have to be able to really add a lot more up here. You know, I'm trying to cover these up a little bit, the A-arms, but I need to keep it minimal. We got the nice skinny tires. We don't want to overburden it and make it too heavy, and then the tires are going to look really weird. Or I'll need to try to find some wider ones. Don't want to do that. But then we can get moved to the back and start working on it. So that's where we're at for now. I'll catch you back up when the lights get here and we make some final decisions on it, or when I get some sheet metal work done. One of the two. Working on shock mounts, front shock mounts. So give you an idea of what I'm working with here. I'm taking these items and we're turning them into something more like that. This was actually a body mount for the cab and the bed. It was mounted on the side of the frame like so, and I cut it off. And now we're just repurposing this upper portion for the rear shock or the front shock mounts. I've got one mounted. I need to clean this one up and then I can weld it on, and then I'll show you what it looks like. All right, I got one side in, so I'll show you what I got. So I put the wheel on it, as you can see here. Check for all our clearances. This is at full stuff, and there in the shock mount we got room. Not going to be putting a much wider tire on it though. Oops, hold on, let me try to turn it. I'll get you a good view. Okay, here we are. So this is the piece that we cut off of the vehicle originally. Just been repurposed. I went ahead and sandblasted it to clean it up a little bit. This is where that bolt is I showed you. I just drilled a hole, plug welded it from the back side, welded it from this side, and then I've got a nut back there just to act as a spacer. I'll weld it on, and yeah, that's about it. It's not perfect. I could definitely get some better alignment in the bottom. I have a feeling those are probably going to wear badly at some point, but it'll work. And right now, that's what we need. So I'm going to weld up the other side, then I can finish weld this side, and shock mounts are done. All right, everybody, it's about that time to conclude this video. So I didn't get the headlights installed. They did come in, I do have them, but I'm gonna take some more time to think about what I'm doing. And I got a couple of other things done. It's not 100% yet, but I got something to cover up the big gap in the steering box. And then we've got some panels installed on the, well, we're calling it the grill, the front end. I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to do the dimple dies, or if I'm just going to do those and leave it like it is. I'm going to give it some time to stew. You know, I'm just winging it. I'm just running with it and doing things as they kind of come up and ideas present themselves. I solve a problem and then try to make it aesthetically pleasing, or like I'm really kind of trying to take away from those A-arms. I don't like the A-arms. They're ugly, but I'm stuck with them for now. So I'd like to get the headlights and stuff down and try to cover that up, but without making it look too weird with the rest of the vehicle. So at any rate, that's what we got for now. I appreciate you watching. If you would, like, subscribe, and we look forward to producing another video for you soon.